My name is Robiaun Charles, and I'm our Vice President for College Advancement here at Agnes Scott College. I am so pleased to see all of you today for our Student Excellence Luncheon. We're definitely in, you are in for a treat as you have the opportunity as donors to engage with your students. I have the distinct honor and pleasure, though, of introducing the 9th President of Agnes Scott College, Leocadia Lee Zach.
Thank you, Robiaun, and thank you to your team for putting on this amazing lunch. Can we give them a round of applause? I also want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank our amazing donors for your generosity, and I want to thank our students for being here today. But I have to say, none of this would be possible without what we see here in this room. The generosity of our donors, coming together with our students, and continuing the legacy of Agnes Scott. I have to say, it does take a community to raise a Scottie, and so I'm really happy to have such an amazing community here today. It also does take funding to raise a Scottie. And when I looked at the notes for today that was provided by Advancement, I have to say, I really paused for a minute because, as a matter of fact, annually we provide $25.7 million for scholarships a year. That would not be possible without the people in this room, along with our partner foundations. And as a result, what we have is this amazing community called Agnes Scott, which has done such a fantastic job in welcoming me and also raising some phenomenal students. I have to say, I know some of you have heard me speak recently, so you know what's happening at the college. Some of you have not. So I'm going to give you a couple highlights. The first highlight, and many of you have heard this, and you feel free to join in, is that we are absolutely delighted because of the amazing development of our unique experience called Summit, that 95% of our incoming class has indicated is important to them, that we were ranked #1 by U.S. News and World Report with respect to innovation. We also were ranked #2 with respect to teaching. These are for liberal arts colleges across the country. So this is Williams and Wellesley. We ranked higher. We also ranked #1 for social mobility. And with respect to social mobility, what that means is having students who receive Pell Grants, other assistance, who make it all the way through their senior year. And again, that's thanks so much to your generosity. So because of you, we are there in those rankings. But also, I have to say, we are there to be able to instruct our amazing students. And I had such a pleasure this year. Some of you, how many of you were at Founders Day this year? How many of you remember Founders Day? All right. We did something different this year at Founders Day than had been done in the past. It was Founders Day by our students for our students in the community. They were awesome. It was absolutely unbelievable. The music, the poetry, the wonderful, wonderful testaments that they gave to Agnes Scott, focusing on its history and its future, spoken word. I have to say, I started at the beginning of Founders Day with the incredible music, with tears in my eyes. I completed Founders Day with tears in my eyes from laughter. It was just an amazing, amazing time. And what that really demonstrated to me is how much Agnes Scott means to our students and how they were able to use their own voice to be able to describe what Agnes Scott means to them. And you'll hear a little bit of that today as well. But it was just a wonderful opportunity for the community to come together. And I also have to say how proud I was of our students, and what an amazing professional job that they have done. There is so much to be proud of, and I recognize I'm between you and lunch, so I'll keep it short, because I could go on forever about these amazing Scotties. But one, we have the largest class in the college's history. Yay! We have the most students on campus in the college's history. We also have had the opportunity to appear in many news outlets. You may have read in your Sunday New York Times in the Education Center about Agnes Scott and how we attribute Summit to the growth of the students at Agnes Scott College. We were also delighted to have one of our Agnes Scott students write an op-ed that was published in the AJC around the time of the Super Bowl. So it is clear that our Agnes Scott students are leading everywhere. In addition, we have developed amazing graduate programs, and they are in their first year and expanding. The initial program is focused on writing and digital communications, and we also are expanding into digital visualization. And these are one-year certificate programs or actually master's programs. So we look forward to taking the spirit, the wonderful curriculum that we have at Agnes Scott and expanding that even further with respect to our graduate programs. We also have been delighted to have so many amazing students recognized over the prior year, and we will also have more to come. We are thrilled to have a Marshall Scholar this year, and I was at an event last night, and someone was saying, "You realize Marshall Scholars are even better than Rhodes Scholars?" And I said, "I will not tell Elizabeth that." But we were really excited about that. We have students who are finalists for Fulbright and many other wonderful opportunities. And I have to say, I was so happy today when I was in my office and I heard the bell ringing. And so we had a student who had a new job opportunity or was going on to graduate school that was ringing that bell. And we are thrilled to also have an amazing renovation in Rebecca Hall, which I also know some of you have participated in, which is absolutely beautiful. And it is also LEED Platinum. And that is something that is very unusual for a renovation. I think it's also part of our culture since we have focused on sustainability and also focused on excellence. I have to say we were very proud that that building has now won many awards. We were slightly disappointed. There was one architectural award that we came in second. So you could imagine I was slightly crushed until I learned that number one was Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So it has been an absolute banner year, and I am so grateful to so many who have gone before me. President Quiche, the board, our faculty and staff did a tremendous job with respect to the development of Summit. Our faculty and staff every day do an amazing job with respect to the care and support and education of our students. They deserve to be number one, and I'm looking forward to that happening in the future, but we know they're number one in our hearts. They've done an amazing job. And our students, every day I walk onto this campus, and no matter what is happening, I am inspired. They are absolutely amazing. They are bright. They are articulate, but there is also one other feature on this campus that you don't find everywhere, and that's they're kind. And that is something so special, and I think such an important legacy from so many of our amazing alumni, that they have so much in common with them. They focus on the traditions, they focus on the mission, they focus on the heritage. And I'll leave with one last thing about how amazing our students are and how much they care, and also their link to the past as well as to the future. Some of you may know that we recently had our sophomore ring ceremony, and we were absolutely inspired by our students as they were so excited to receive their rings. One of the things that happened this year is that our students put forward a resolution and asked whether part of their fee could be put toward the rings to ensure that every student receives a ring. That being part of the Black Ring Mafia means so much to them. And when they put forward that resolution, I have to say I was touched because one, not only were they thinking about all of the Scotties, during that process, they said, we know some alumni did not receive their ring. Is it possible that some of this money could go toward them? And we explained, no, unfortunately, that particular pool could not. We tried to think about others, but it just was such a demonstration of how our students see a link to one another and see a link throughout generations. We've also had amazing alumni who have offered their ring to students. We have one of them here today, and that's also extremely meaningful. But what I see is, I see the past in our alumni. I see those who have given in honor of their family. I see the present in our students here today. And I also very much see the future through our students. And that future, that bright future, would not be there if it weren't for all the amazing donors that are here today. So I thank you for that.
I have the distinct privilege of introducing the students today. I'm Dr. Jennifer Larimore. I'm a professor of biology and neuroscience here at Agnes Scott. Thank you. I absolutely love our STEM students. So when I was asked to introduce them today, I was absolutely thrilled. I've seen STEM students at other colleges, and Agnes Scott students are unique. Our students not only have the compassion and the kindness, but they also have a drive and a commitment. They know what they want, and with our help, we talk about what's your plan? How are we going to get there? How can we help you? How can we get you there? And these students are amazing. The internships and the research that they do is just fascinating. The way that we can get them plugged into these experiences before they graduate, so when they graduate, they're ready. They're ready for careers, they're ready for more school. A lot of them go for more and more and more school, like some of them talking today. And we're so, so proud, and we're so thankful for everything that we get to do with them because of donations like yours. The fact that we can provide these research opportunities, especially over the summer, the fact that we can plug them in with alums and internships, the fact that we've got tutoring programs and additional programs that will support them academically while they're here is amazing. The fact of the matter is, in positions similar to mine, we still have less than 25% of women in these positions. So we need more women coming from places with a strong commitment that will stay in these upper level positions in STEM so that we can continue not only to diversify the gender, but we can diversify any of the groups that are going to be represented and have a better voice. So your contributions to their scholarship and to their academic performance allows for more creativity and more options that are going to be available for treatment and the way that we think about science and ethical approaches to what we're doing in science. So I personally just thank you so much for what you give our students. Today, I get to introduce all three of these students, and I've only had the privilege of having one of them in class, but I talked to their professors because this is a small college, and so I get to know all about them even without having them in class. Eduige is coming first to tell you about her experience at Agnes, and what I've heard from her professors is that she is studious, committed, bright, and is going to set the computing world on fire. So I cannot wait to see what your career brings. So Eduige.
Hi all. So as Dr. Larimore says, I'm Eduige. I'm a junior here at the major in math and physics. and I'm from Rwanda. So Rwanda is a small country located in the East Central Africa, whose story of resilience and consistent growth keep inspiring me day to day. So I'm honored to be part of the Luncheon of Student Excellence, because if you asked me like 3 years ago, I would never have thought I would be standing here. 3 years ago, I was a high school graduate from a very humble background, who was looking for sponsorship opportunities which could allow me to pursue higher education. My hope was when I got admitted to Bridge Rwanda. It is a gap year program which prepares top high school graduates of the region to apply to international colleges and help them apply for available higher education funds. That is how I earned the MasterCard Foundation Scholarship and got admitted to Agnes. My admission to Agnes was a beginning of an exciting journey. Agnes exposed me to so many great resources I needed to pursue my dreams of becoming a computer or an electronics engineer. I learned to provide affordable tech tools and their maintenance facilities to my community. Given the standard of living on this side, one would say that there must be a fairly enough supply of such tools everywhere else. However, that's not the case. In fact, I got my first personal computer in 2016 after high school, and I can assure you that there are so many students back home who are in university but don't have like a PC. Personal computers empower people to achieve more and be better, which make them indispensable in developing countries such as Rwanda. So I was moved by my dream to supply affordable and advanced technology, and by the curiosity to understand how computer operates. That inspired me to start learning how to code and took a course called data analysis in Python during my first year. The class prepared me for my first summer internship. During the summer of 2017, I interned at the Space Telescope Science Institute, where I was working in the Mission Engineering and Science Analysis department. The opportunity allowed me to practice my programming skills. I loved coding all day and collaborating with those brilliant people. So, given my background, that was a really incredible opportunity, to say the least. Had it not been the great support I got from my great professors and the student community of Agnes, I would not have had such an opportunity. The opportunity laid a great foundation for me, especially for the summer which followed. The summer of 2018, I worked with a professor on programming the graphical user interface for a robot arm. It was an intriguing experience to see my robot go from an inanimate object to something which was animated and that could pick up stuff. I'd like to especially thank the Aileen Caspar Bornish and Fred Burish Fund for Excellence in Math and Physics Award, which gave me the opportunity to pursue my internship at the end of my first year. I am so thankful for this award and the MasterCard Scholars Foundation Scholarship and the Mary West Thatcher Scholarship for sponsoring the academics part of my first internship. Thank you so much.
So how could you not love my job if you had students like this, right? Students are clearly gifted and bright, but also full of compassion and ready to pay it forward. And again, this is why I love working at Agnes. Our next student is Sydney. Sydney is in the evolutionary biology focus in the biology program. So I have not yet had her, I won't have her in any of my classes. But she frequently is outside of my office because she is talking with my office neighbor, Dr. Pilger, on a regular basis. So I've overheard her passion for science firsthand as she expressed all of her joy about different opportunities, different classes, and her passion is very evident. And I'm very excited for everything she gets to do in the future, which includes PhD program at Georgia Tech. So I'm thankful that she's close and can advise our future Scotties on what to do if they're seeking out a similar program. And I'm also excited that she's close so we can hear her successes and where it's going to take her. So, Sydney.
Sorry about that. Hi, y'all. I'm Sydney. I am a senior majoring in biology here, and I'm going to talk to y'all about how funded research through the STEM Scholars Program has opened up so many different fields and opportunities for me. So, without further ado, 4 years ago, like many other frantic high school seniors, I had absolutely no idea what direction my life was going to take. For months, I agonized over looming college decisions I would have to make by May 1st, and I worried I was going to make the wrong decision and end up on a completely different life path than I originally intended. Well, I did end up on a completely different life path, as often happens with going to college. I have never once regretted my choice to attend Agnes Scott. Agnes Scott College has provided me with a perfect combination of challenges and opportunities to truly grow and succeed. I would not be a scientist, a former Rhodes Scholar applicant, or a presidential PhD candidate at Georgia Tech had it not been for the incredible experiences I've had in the past 4 years. When I first came to Agnes Scott, I was convinced I was going to be an English literature major. It's what I sort of felt comfortable with after my primary and secondary education experiences. I actually had never even considered a career in the sciences. However, I chose to take some introductory courses to biology as a way to widen my intellectual breadth, something that the Summit curriculum requires of each and every student. I had previously struggled in the sciences based on some visual disabilities and based on negative preconceived notions of what it was to be a woman in the sciences. However, at Agnes Scott, my professors were willing to work with me, to spend that extra moment explaining how to visualize an equation, to check in that I was actually able to see through the microscope, to celebrate my triumphs, and to help me through my struggles. Biology became my home within the college, and soon it became my true passion. After being selected as a STEM scholar in my first year, I knew I had found my academic path, a path that, again, I never thought I would actually belong to. Being a scholarship recipient at Agnes Scott has furthered my devotion to my eventual field of evolutionary developmental biology. At the end of my first year, I was selected as a Goizetta STEM Scholar, which was funded through the Francis Mark Schillinglaw Women in Science Foundation. The scholarship funded my research on how secondary sexual structures evolved with Agnes Scott professor Locke Rogers. The program focused on teaching students laboratory dynamics and skills while also fostering a sense of leadership and agency. During the summer, I learned not only how to research, but how to effectively communicate my ideas and findings. This program shaped me into the scientist I am today and helped me muster up the courage to apply to other internships and to even make my own opportunities. Without this experience, I would never have developed my eventual career goals of being a professor myself, nor would I have been accepted into the most competitive REU, or Research Experience for Undergraduates program in the country. Now, having just been awarded the Presidential Fellowship for a PhD at Georgia Tech, I am ineffably grateful to the opportunities in science Agnes Scott has provided and pushed me to obtain. In the 3 years following my initial sponsorship through STEM Scholars, I have worked on 7 other research projects at top-rated institutes and in several different countries. These opportunities were only possible through the kindness and patience of my professors and through the Agnes Scott alumni and donors. While I'm facing a path I never thought was going to be mine, I could not imagine a better undergraduate experience or a better institution. Agnes Scott was truly the best fit. Thank you.
So the last student you'll hear from this afternoon is Iara. Iara and I actually had class together. Iara took diseases of the nervous system with me, and this class is a fantastic class. The students have a lot of input into the ways that they teach this class. They actually lead the class. I don't lead it. It's a 300 level. They don't need me that much. By then they know more. And Iara is going to do excellent things, and I know this because of the amazing thought and critical analysis that came through in that class. So Iara graduated in December, and she is currently studying for her entrance exam to med school. So she's got a year ahead of her where she's going to be prepping for that, but she's going to be an amazing physician when the time comes. So, Iara.
Good afternoon, everybody. Like Dr. Larimore said, I did recently graduate in December, but I am class of 2019, so go Sprites. I, at first, didn't know what to talk about, really, because at Agnes, you do so much in the time you're here. I think everyone's resume here is about 3 pages long, honestly. And instead of talking about those things that we put down on our resumes or CVs or applications, I kind of wanted to talk about more about the things you don't put down. There are skill sets that are just as important, I believe, as the experiences we have. Agnes Scott's mission is one of my favorites that I think I've ever heard. But it says to think critically, to live honorably, and to be able to engage in the social experiences and conversations that are going on today in the political, social, all these different kind of climates that we have going on. So during my time here at Agnes Scott, I have been able to, like in Dr. Larimore's class, read countless numbers of research papers and scientific articles where we did discuss things such as ethics, really what is moral when it comes to science-based, but also outside of that as well, amongst all of my classes. Thanks to Summit, we do a lot of critical thinking, critical analysis, and all of these things have led up to basically the skill sets that I believe every individual should have. Unfortunately, it's not taught as much as I wish it could be amongst all students in this world. However, Agnes does a fantastic job of doing it. Graduating from Agnes, I noticed that I had become a kinder person. I had become more compassionate. I had learned the difference between being empathetic with someone versus sympathetic. I learned that these are the type of things, the type of skills that will not only help me in my academics and my career as a future doctor, these are the kind of things that will help me as a person, regardless of who I am, where I come from, who I'm interacting with. At the end of the day, we're, all just human beings trying to get along, and eventually, it's just kindness that will get us far. And I really have Agnes Scott to thank to that, because they teach you how to think, discuss critically with others. You can agree or disagree, but you learn how to do it respectfully. And even to a point where you get to sit back and realize the point of view that someone you might disagree with has. You might see, oh, now I understand why you might have that point of view. And it's that type of critical analyzing that you learn how to do, and helps tremendously when you enter the workforce, when you graduate, when you discuss with people your age that didn't go to the same school but have different viewpoints. So that is the primary thing I think I have. That's the biggest thing I feel has been just a huge thank you to Agnes Scott, that really when people tell me if I enjoyed my time here, I tell them I would do it again, because these are the type of skills I don't think I would have learned anywhere else. And Agnes Scott, like, my college decision was unfortunately the way it is for a lot of students. It was the school that would give me the most money. And to be honest, that's what Agnes Scott did for me, and it was a place that I fell in love with before I even knew what my financial packet looked like. But then I fell in love even more after I found out that this was a school that, was allowing me and my family to be financially able to provide me as first U.S. college student to go to college and be able to further my education and, continue my path on becoming a physician. And that is why I'm here today. And I'm so honored to speak and to say thank you, because if it weren't for that nice, lovely donation, I wouldn't have had these skill sets. And honestly, since just graduating in December, I've seen the biggest difference amongst other students who have graduated, who are graduating from other colleges as well. And there's just something from Agnes that really sets us apart. And I'm so thankful for that. So thank you.